Welcome everyone to the August 17th, 2026 school board meeting for SAU 87. We would like to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Jesse, can I get you to lead us, please? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ready, this is a call to order. Do we have any agenda adjustments?
Except we've been hijacked, so. We're good for now.
We'll try that again.
You usually don't start off.
I do have one adjustment, please. You're going to add under new business, if you would, item E, IIB, policy IIB course approval.
All right, anybody else have any other adjustments they need to make?
Mr. Chairman and Melissa, do you want me to give a 2-minute recap of the first negotiation meeting or no? It's up to you.
I think we could. Yeah, I think that's fine.
All right, so
We'll put that on as F.
or whatever. It's a 2-minute update.
All righty, date and time of our next meeting. Right now it's scheduled for September 8th, 2026 at 6 p.m. That is primary day. Are we thinking to possibly change this date to something that might be better?
But yeah, we're at the board's will, whichever date is
Wednesday.
better.
I mean,
Does-
we can't push it off much.
Yep.
Can we tonight?
Does Wednesday the 9th work for you? Schedules real quick. You're fine, I'm assuming, because you made the suggestion, Steve?
Yeah. I'll move things.
All right.
Well, it's an academic meeting, so I am assuming Melissa's going to have a few things that she wants to discuss.
There are plenty of things to discuss, and I'll message that out to our
Same time.
staff. Yep,
Will Liz be back for that?
she will.
Okay.
Doesn't require a motion or anything, right?
No.
That's just an adjustment.
This is calendar.
All right, has everyone had a chance to review and review this meetings from our last minute meeting on August 3rd, 2026? Anyone have any concerns, questions? If not, can I have a motion to approve the meetings? Second,
A second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right. All righty, moving on, public comments. It does appear we have one gentleman here from the public who would like to speak. He will be limited to 3 minutes. If another person from public comes in, they will be able to take the floor, and if he likes, he may continue afterwards. Doesn't appear that there's anyone online waiting either, so.
Thank you. It's a little weird sitting on this side of the table looking at all of you. And it will be an image will take a long time to get rid of. The reason why I'm here to speak to you tonight is I want to talk about what I think might be a pink elephant in the room. And that has to do with the amount of time that I've been absent for board meetings, particularly as the chair of the board meetings. You know, I was gone for a month last mid-September to October, and then April to May, and gone over the summer. And then, and I've been feeling badly about that for some time. But the tip of the iceberg for me was the negotiation meeting that was scheduled for Tuesday, which I was supposed to be at, and it was unavoidable. My flight got canceled on Monday, and they couldn't schedule me until Tuesday. So anyway, but the board should not have to suffer for that kind of stuff. And so I've been wrestling with, how to address it. I'm going to be gone mid-September to mid-October as well. I don't anticipate, I'm pretty confident that I will not be gone again until next summer at the earliest, after this. But I felt like I needed to bring it up in my career and everything I've done. Particularly when I've been in a leadership role, I've always taken my obligations very seriously, and I take my obligations here very seriously. But at the same time, I feel like I have not fulfilled that obligation very well. And I felt I owed it to you all as board members and others who are here, for me to come and speak to it. And I don't know if anybody here has been thinking about it or if it's crossed their mind. But for me, it's been a pink elephant in the room, so I wanted to come and address it. So what I want to ask of all of you, and I'm speaking specifically to the board because I think this is a board decision. And one reason why I'm talking to you in public is I think the public needs to hear this, but also we can't talk about a board member, which in this case is me, in non-public. Okay, so another reason for it being public. But I want to ask all of you on the board, and I've spoken to Ellen already because she texted me and saying she was going to be here tonight. And I said, well, neither am I. And so I called her to let her know what I was going to be speaking to you about. I would like to ask all of you to take the next 2 weeks to think among yourselves, talk with each other if you want, but don't do it in a public meeting sense of the word. As to what you think, and the options are for me to continue as chair, for me to step down as chair, or even to step off the board. And quite frankly, I would feel very comfortable going with whatever decision the board makes. I've enjoyed my time on the board. I want to continue working with all of you and with people in the district. But I feel that this should be a board decision and not just mine alone. And that feels just wrong to me. And so in 2 weeks, I'll be here. I'm intentionally not flying anywhere, and hopefully I will be over my virus. And so we can then have the follow-up discussion and what you all think. And I really want you to feel free. I sincerely mean this. I really want you to feel free to express your opinion. I will not feel offended if you feel that I should step down in either way, at all. And I mean that sincerely. So that's what I wanted to come and speak to you about tonight. And I don't think I have anything more to say about that, but my interest is what's in the best interest of the board. And I think the board needs to weigh in on that. So, all right. Okay.
Go home and take care of yourself.
Yeah, I am going to go home. Yes, thank you. And you all have a good meeting.
Plenty of liquids, vitamin C, little honey.
Yes, well, I've been doing all of that. Unfortunately, I've got this respiratory virus that in my family history and including my own personal history has frequently turned into pneumonia. So I'm trying to prevent that from happening. So, but I will see you all in 2 weeks. All right.
Take care. Take care. There does not seem to be anyone else from the public here or online, assuming we don't get hacked again. So moving on, board chair remarks. I do not have any major remarks. I just want to send a reminder out to the public to start looking at your socials and online and websites and things for the updates that are coming through at the beginning of the start of the school year as it relates to bus routes, school supplies, signing up for sports, signing up for what it is that you need to sign up for as we get ready and geared up for the new year. All right, so moving on, reports to the board. Ms. Gray, I believe you are first.
All right. I just wanted to formally invite those of you who are here on the board to lunch at New Teacher Orientation this Wednesday, noontime at the high school. We'll have our new teachers in for orientation, and we traditionally have a little lunch for them, and folks are welcome to stop in.
What's on the menu?
I think we're doing pizza.
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 From?
Our school cafeteria will be,
Lobster.
yeah,
Not
not
lobster.
lobster. No,
So
no.
noon?
Noon at the high school.
Okay.
Yep. Teachers and paras will be back next week. We are looking forward to welcoming students back on the 27th. Boynton Middle School will be starting their professional development series with Capturing Kids' Hearts. The board agreed to a rather large contract with Capturing Kids' Hearts this year, and this is really in an effort to support school culture and to really put some systems and structures in place to support a safe, welcoming, healthy, and happy learning environment for our students at Boynton Middle School. So we're looking forward to that. There will also be breakfast served at 7:30 at the high school on the 24th, at Highbridge on the 25th, and at Boynton Middle School on the 26th. And the board is welcome to join us there as well.
Times for those.
7:30 will be breakfast at each of the buildings. Okay. I met with the folks from NHLI, New Hampshire Learning Initiative, who spent the last 2 years with us developing the vision of a learner and working through competencies. We spent a lot of time talking about the next steps and what we're planning to do next. As the board knows, you all agreed to the new report card, and that effort is well underway, ready to roll. Our next step is collecting evidence of learning. And when we talk about competency, what we don't only want kids to be able to repeat what they've heard, we want them to be able to apply it and use it in a real world context. So we are looking for, and we will be learning about new ways or different ways to collect evidence of learning for students so that we can ensure they're ready for the workforce and beyond. Our biggest challenge right now is continued vacancies. We have some critical vacancies in special education that we need filled. We are likely going to be looking at contracted services for some of these because they're tied to individual education plans, IEPs, and the special education process. And those are services that we can't do without. And you have to be a certified professional in order to provide those. And so we can't do an emergency authorization or look for an alternative pathway to certification. You must be a special educator to deliver those services. So as the board may remember, when we do contracted services, they're about 1.5 plus times the rate we would pay our teacher because we have to pay the third-party agency. So not our most exciting option, but it's an option that we probably are going to have to exercise. Our principals, though, and directors are working as quickly as they can to fill vacancies as they come up. Important dates. 8/26, we're going to do, there'll be a pop into Boynton for 5th grade students. They'll be able to stop in, get a popsicle, check out the building, etc. 8/27 is the first day of school for grades 1 through 12. 8/31 is the first day for kindergarten, pre-K, and CTE. 9/15 is open house for all of our buildings. This is a little different than we've done in the past. What we thought was originally we would have 3 nights in a row, and then Liz came in and we had a great conversation about how does that impact families when families have kids at each level. Going out 3 nights might be a lot to ask of families. And so we have made an adjustment, and we've decided 9:15, 5:30, Highbridge Hill for an hour, will overlap and start open Mascenic Regional High School at 6 p.m. And then at 6:30, we'll open Boynton Middle School for open house. And families will be home by 7:30. Hopefully have visited all of the places that they need to go. It's intentionally not a parent-teacher conference, right? It's an open house. It's a place to come in, check out the space, check out the classroom, meet the teacher, do those kinds of things. And then conferences follow much later on. So that is it for my report this evening, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Just like to add on to that on the 26th as well, there's the orientation for new students at the high school
Yes,
at
thank
8
you.
in the morning, and then later that evening at 6 o'clock. Is it 6? 5 o'clock, I'm sorry. There's informational meeting for parents at the high school.
Thank you so much.
Anybody
Do you have
else?
anyone that's-
I don't have anyone who's going to be entering the high school this year.
Two quick things. The SPED part of the problem there is that's exempt from the critical shortage issue. Correct?
No,
We can't.
we can't do any alternative pathways. Meaning, for a general education teacher, there's more flexibility. If I have a
Mhm.
bachelor's degree and I can meet some general competencies, then there's some flexibility in how we can get you into the classroom, right? And we would be responsible for a lot of that training. We'd align a mentor, et cetera. For anything that's federally funded, so we're talking about Title I, and we're talking about special education tied to the IDEA grant, those teachers have to be certified by the state for which they're serving. And so it is only teacher certification that would qualify, or an in-process licensure, which you have to have a bachelor's degree, you have to have some coursework, you have to, or be in an educator approved program, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the bar is a little higher for those.
Yeah, and it really narrows the pool.
Really does. Yeah.
Okay. The other thing is, I know I beat this like a dead mule, but part of that competency, I would like to see that whole concept of critical thinking, not education based on memorization, but I'm hearing that from the business community saying, look, they come up against something and they just don't know how to think around it or think through it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's really the intent, right? As we were talking about this a little bit a few weeks back, but we've been hearing, education has been hearing from the business community for probably 20 years, right? About this need for us to develop learners who can engage in the workforce in a way that doesn't have their managers holding hands,
Right.
or telling them every single step to take, or standing over the shoulder for an extended period of time. There's always going to be on-the-job training, and there's always going to be some of that supervisory role, but the ability to self-start, the ability to critically think, the ability to communicate effectively, to write effectively in your communication, on top of just being able to communicate orally. There's a lot of pieces of that. And our vision of a learner really speaks to a lot of the competencies. And those vision of a learner competencies are very heavy. They're very thick, because the team had, we must have had 20 or so categories that we were looking at that we thought were critically important, soft skill kinds of things, durable skill kinds of things for kids to walk away with. And we were able to kind of create those, I think there are 4 or 5 buckets there.
Thank you. You're right. I mean, that has been a constant refrain from the business community. Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, moving on. Ms. Anderson, I believe you're up next.
Good evening. This week is fully taken up by the fiscal year 26 audit. The auditors came in today and we're off to a good start. But also, busy new school year stuff, lots of hiring, with some resignations going on and stuff like that. That's very time consuming. And then I'm going to be starting on our budget preparation very soon. But the most exciting piece of news that I think we should shout from the rooftops is that our last bond payment is due September 1st. And that check is being cut probably tomorrow, and it's going to get mailed off, and then we're done.
We're done.
We're done. That payment's about $1.5 million, including the interest payment. And we are free from that bond. So
Outstanding.
it's been 15 years that the taxpayers have supported this. So it's going to be relief, no doubt. Food service balances, the numbers speak for itself. We're doing a little better. We had a couple families that made very large payments over the summer after me hounding them politely. So we're good shape. Again, consistency is going to be the key on that one. And then the expenditures report, there's not a whole lot to report. I mean, it is only 1 month into the fiscal year. We're definitely not over budget anywhere at this point. And revenues are on target. It's just your standard monthly revenues, such as your town appropriations, interest on your bank statements, stuff like that. So we are in good shape otherwise, and I'm happy to entertain any questions.
Anyone else? Any questions?
Not really a question, but I think there ought to be a celebratory something for the community.
Like post the check on Facebook,
You know,
like blur out
a gift
the
that
account
says,
numbers.
We're done with
We're
this,
done.
kind of thing. No, good report. Yeah.
Thank you. All right, moving on. Mr. Heath Vincent.
Good evening. So I have been working on a number of projects with my team over the summer to modernize some of the equipment that's used on the infrastructure to support the technology around the district. I have a sort of long list of things. I'll give you the highlights. And feel free to ask any questions that you might have. The big portion of the workflow this summer was taken up with our server infrastructure. We were moving away from having physical servers for each of the servers, instead having one large server in each location that has virtual machines on it, and it makes much easier for us to recover from any power outages or issues with providing services. We can reboot these machines very quickly, whereas a physical machine, it might take 5-10 minutes for that thing to boot back up. So it just makes us much more versatile, and it also helps us with disaster preparedness. If we have a school shut down, we can move those servers over to another school, so the infrastructure continues to exist because it's all virtualized. There were a number of complications that arose throughout the course of performing those actions across the district, and we're actually not 100% done. We have finished all of the schools. The SAU office here still has remaining work to do. The new infrastructure is ready to go. We just have not cut over to it yet, and because we're in the back to school crunch right now, we're going to postpone that till later in September. So we have a number of other things that we're working on this summer, redesigning inside of the Google Admin Center how our school is organized to make it much more easier to make changes and administer the district. So similarly with Active Directory and group policy objects, there was a lot of items that have been there for years since the servers were first turned on. And so it was just a process of sort of cleaning up and modernizing so that we know what everything does, especially with their last year having been 100% turnover in the technology department. There's a lot of things where we weren't really sure, is this still needed? And so you can't just flip those switches. You need to do testing and validation to make sure that there's not going to be negative impact. Another big win was decommissioning a physical file server so that we have everything in the Google Cloud. Again, that's for the schools. There's still a little bit here that's physical, but that'll be handled with the cutover at the SAU, essentially ensuring that we have a much more robust backup strategy for how we handle data retention in case of a recovery event. We have student Chromebooks being refreshed, relabeled, cleaned, evaluated for damage. We have a number of these things that are we're in the crunch time, but I do expect us to be able to complete everything that says it's in progress on the list. There's a handful of things that are not going to be completed, unfortunately. One of them was the parent-guardian contact management updates. I expect that to be done by November. And I'm happy to entertain any questions from the board.
When do you expect Power School to be completely updated with all the schedules and everything for all the students, everything combined together? I know some of the schools are done, some don't appear to be done, but just trying to, so they can get prepared.
Yes, I believe there's that's handled by the guidance staff at the schools themselves. So I know that there's a period in time when the schedules are built but not yet visible, because they're not 100% done, but they're basically in a holding pattern. And so I know, at least at the high school, I'm very familiar because I've been working a lot with them on various things with Power School in summer. And I know they were in that state for a period of time. They may still be.
Anybody else?
Oh, just a comment. We just need to schedule a meeting and really just focus on the top 5 priorities for
Yes.
the coming year.
I will, I'll sync up with you.
Send me your
Yeah,
schedule. I'll work around it.
yep,
I'll figure out a
perfect.
way.
Thank you.
Alrighty, moving on. Mr. Reynolds, your turn.
Good evening. It's been a slow start to the summer. We had so many projects and it seemed like nothing really got off and moving until the beginning of August. Now, the last few weeks, we've been buried with projects. A lot of things completed, concrete stuff, some paving. We had a ton of plumbing and HVAC projects that got completed. Still have some outstanding ones going on, some door replacements, some rekeying, fire alarm system at the Science and Tech building. So a lot of the stuff will be wrapped up before school, but some it's going to drag its feet a little bit longer for us. The regular stuff, schools are cleaned and looking good. Biggest probably struggle for us has been Highbridge. Been shorthanded there, along with it being summer, where most of my guys take their time off. So we're playing a little bit of catch up there, but we'll be good by the time students are back in the building. Fields are looking great. Sports started today, so yeah, we're ready for school to start.
All right. Anybody have any questions, concerns?
We can talk at some point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Alrighty, moving on then to unfinished business. Healthy Kids, Miss Gray, back to you.
Yes, I just wanted to do provide an update about Healthy Kids Before and After Care program. We got a number of calls from families around this, so I just wanted to make sure we put it out there and help. Just looking for some support in spreading the word. We put it out today in our newsletter, but it's worth mentioning again that Healthy Kids is taking over our before and after care for Highbridge Hill. They right now, or as of Friday, had their aftercare program registration open with a discount code new 2026, which takes the $100 registration fee down to $10 for families. So a really nice benefit and discount there. Before care is going to happen for Highbridge Hill. The company is building out the website and building all of the features for our particular site. It has to get licensing, et cetera, to make sure that that's underway. But at any point here, any day now, we're waiting for that before care registration to launch on their website. The links are included in the flyer that was sent out today for families. But if anyone's looking for before and after care, it is happening, and we can share more information or direct you to the website for additional fees and all of those kinds of things.
Alrighty, moving on again now to new business. The MOU for the New Ipswich Police Department. So you again, Ms. Gray?
Yep, this is just each year we sign a memorandum of understanding with the New Ipswich Police Department around their services for our schools in their jurisdiction. So I'm just looking for permission from the board to sign the MOU.
There were no significant changes.
No significant changes.
And this is just New Ipswich?
Just
not
New Ipswich.
Greenville. All right.
I'll make that motion.
Make a motion. All right. Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Is that something I need to sign tonight or
I think it's just the superintendent who needs to sign.
superintendent? Okay.
Yep.
All right. Moving on to B, acceptance of donation for food services balance. That would be Mrs. Anderson.
So the Mascenic class of 2025 has made a donation to help our existing students who have food balances. They've presented a check for $3,072.70, and I'm just seeking board approval to accept these monies.
I have a motion to accept the $3,072.70.
A motion to accept with thanks, many thanks.
Thanks. Thanks. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, passes unanimously. All righty. Sticking with you, Mrs. Anderson, for a financial review.
Right, so I had promised you guys an update on our fiscal year 26 closeout. Again, these are still unaudited numbers, so don't, nail anything down quite yet. But I'm expecting a fund balance of $1.8 million, which you take that figure, then you deduct the school board approved retained fund balance, which you voted on at a prior meeting of $345,000. And then you also deduct the capital reserve funding that the voters have already approved, which was $210,000. And then we had the end of year projects that got approved as well to use end of year funds, and that was $195,000. I wish it was $195. Greg does too. So that leaves roughly $1.1 million that will be returned to the taxpayers to offset tax rate setting this fall, which is really good news. For some perspective, last year we were only able to return $667,000, and that was mostly due to that school care assessment that we got slapped with in October. So overall, our fund balance equates to just over 5% of our total operating budget, which is at the very, very low end of what our auditors and the professional associations recommend that we have. We're still in good shape, but it just means that we have a very, very lean budget. And also looked at the expenditure accounts to see what made up that $1.8 million. There was nothing that stood out as alarming or unusual. There was over 100 lines that made up that $1.8 million. So it was spread out across a few, but a big chunk of it was for special ed out of district tuition. Last year, we did bring a couple kiddos back into district, and we had a kiddo, I believe, that moved out. So it shifted some of those costs a little differently last year, and that resulted in some overall savings. But other than that, I think we are in good shape. I don't plan on changing how we approach budgeting necessarily. So entertain any questions.
Are you comfortable with being that close to the threshold?
Honestly, no. But I do realize that the community and the environment and those types of things,
Right.
Is to be sensitive to the taxpayer. We can squeak by, but if we have something unexpected pop up, we could be in trouble. Yeah.
That's a concern. Thank you, Rachel.
There you go. Good, thank you. No action necessary there. So moving on to budget timelines, Ms. Gray.
And Mrs. Anderson can fill in anything that she sees about the budget timeline that I'm not aware of. Dr. Pogorzelski sent along a memo for this budget timeline, and I'm just going to get there in just a moment. So there are a couple of objectives here in the budget timeline. Last year, due to the budget getting approved in late December, there was a considerable amount of pressure put on the SAU staff in an effort to avoid the situation with the upcoming cycle. They want to make some adjustments. She would like to make some adjustments to the timeline. We would like to move up the timeline a little bit regarding specifically feedback from the ABC. I think one of the pieces that we know is that it's hard to be responsive to the feedback if we're getting it after the fact. And so we're looking for a little bit of an adjustment to receive the feedback sooner. We can prep for it, we can respond to it, and then better prep the budget. We have already started looking at licensing. Our budget directors will be getting a budget sheet from Mrs. Anderson shortly, and they will be able to review and refine the budget for presentation to their budget buddies. Anything else, Mrs. Anderson, that I that we want to talk about here?
No, I think the key point is really to get that feedback earlier so it's more meaningful. I mean, the last thing we want to do is ask, the community to serve on the ABC and then not feel like their voices are being heard or,
Right.
Or they're being rushed. I mean, we're trying to tweak it
Right.
so it works for everybody better. And this year, we're just trying something a little different.
And so we're seeking the board's approval on the new and improved budget timeline, as you can see in your document.
All right, just looking at the timeline here, where your board appoints ABC members is for today. Is that?
We have two folks who are interested. We're still gathering candidates. So we'll have to adjust to the
Okay.
next meeting.
All right, and how will that affect the budget committee orientation then?
If we can get folks aligned, we can certainly bring them to the meeting on the 9th, and then we'll go from there. But
Okay.
We'll just reschedule the
Yep.
orientation.
Okay.
For, whenever it works for the ABC.
Okay. All right, do I have a motion to accept the new budget timeline? Or any questions, any concerns about the budget timeline?
My concern was the same as yours.
Mhm.
We're 17th of August and we still need to fill out the ABC, but I think you're absolutely right. We've got to get them on board in the beginning so we don't make decisions and then have to. So I'm with no caveats, because I know we're gonna have to change the schedule if we don't have that fleshed out, but I'll make that motion. I'll second.
All in favor? All right, passes unanimously. And just to add along with that, just another call out to anybody in the community who is looking to join the ABC or wants to be on the ABC. Reach out to Melissa, Rachel, any of the board members, and we can direct where you need to go to make sure that happens. Ready? Moving on now. Item E, policy IIB. Course approval.
Course approval. The board may recall policy IIB is the policy for enrollment numbers. And the board has a recommendation that any courses that are below 9 students enrolled require special permission from the board to run. And so each year, the high school in particular has some courses that have lower enrollment. And so I've got a list of those courses for you tonight for your approval. A couple of things to know. Mr. Pickering identified these courses as preserving rigor, access to advanced and career-connected pathways, and offering a breadth of programming for the comprehensive high school program. There's a pre-algebra section here that's especially important. There are 2 sections running with small class numbers, which allows the teacher to differentiate the instruction better to help students move to that algebra pathway. These sections can change a bit, and enrollment can fluctuate over the next couple of weeks as students come in. They will have an add drop period, and with a small high school, your flexibility with a schedule is very narrow already. And so holding these courses as presented will allow some flexibility and allow students to maybe pick up something that they didn't anticipate to engage in that add drop process. So we're looking for approval to run 3D art. There are 8 students currently for semesters 1 and 2. Accounting 1, there are 6 students who are running start and CTE students. AP Calculus, 6 students. Guitar introduction, 7 students for the first semester. Music theory, 6 students for the second semester. Physics, 8 students for the second semester. And as I mentioned, the pre-algebra sections, 2 full year sections with 9 and 8 students respectively.
If it falls below a certain amount, is it done? Like you said, people can come and go, so if too many go, if it gets down below a certain threshold, is the class canceled at all? Or no?
It could be, and you could make that recommendation. That a number that is too low to run, I could bring that back and say, Mr. Pickering, if we fall below this level, we have to cut this course.
And I interject here. The trick with that is you still have a teacher that's under contract regardless. So we can't just cancel their contract or
Right.
scale it back. So we're still paying someone to be there.
We would assign them a different duty.
Right.
Yep.
And that's actually the first part. The second part is it's also calendar dependent. If the students, lose X number some months into the course or weeks into the course, to just stop it.
Oh,
is,
yes, once
would
we
never do
begin,
that.
right?
Yeah.
Once we get past that add drop period, we're certainly not gonna turn the course off.
All right.
This
Need a
is,
motion?
this is in the budget. It's not.
Yeah. Nothing new. Teachers already have these in their schedule and we have the capacity to offer them.
What would the teachers be doing if these weren't approved?
We would find a number of other opportunities. We would assign them some other duties. I can't necessarily determine what those might be. But certainly I think a better use of their time is direct instruction to
Oh, no,
students, right?
not disagree. I just
yeah.
more of a, if,
Yeah,
something
yeah.
falls off or we decide to go the other way.
Yeah, a number
what
of
are,
things.
what are they going to be doing
Yeah.
with their time?
Yeah, I
while
mean,
they,
duties, they could be doing a number of duties. They could be supporting intervention in different structures. It would be unique to the circumstances and needs of the student body. These, while each of these is just a few students, the combination of these students, they need something. Monitoring VLAX courses, for example, might be a duty, et cetera. It's not really a high-powered use of the tax dollar to be doing these other duties, but certainly an option if we need to.
Do I have a motion to approve these additional courses as presented?
Yeah, I'll make that motion. I think the majority is STEM. And we can't do that.
I'll second it.
Yep. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
All right, on to F. Steve, you wanted to provide an update for the negotiations. real
A quick 2 minutes. We had our first meeting with Kathleen Peel on the MESA negotiations. Basically, we spent the time looking at the language part of the contract. There were virtually no changes, a couple of housekeeping changes in the language that was presented in the last contract. We did not add anything significant to it. We did clarify a couple of things, and that's been sent off to Rachel Hawkinson. The outcome, though, is that Rachel Hawkinson will be gone for a week, and then Kathleen Peel will be gone for 2 weeks. So the next meeting, the earliest it can happen, is around the 25th of September. But it was a good meeting, and everybody came to the conclusion that we really wanted to promote the idea that we wanted the budget for that to pass, so that they would have a contract, and that we would communicate that very strongly to Rachel Hawkinson.
Thank you for the updates. Anything else? No? Moving on then to policies. Do we have any policies? I didn't see anything in the folder for policies.
No policies this
None.
evening.
Policies this evening. All right. Moving on to personnel.
We have 6 nominations this evening. A last minute resignation with regret and a transfer of position in the same building.
All right, so we had a chance to look at the slate.
Mhm.
Do I have a motion to accept the slate as presented?
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. All right, moving right along here, huh? All right, final public comments. Not seeing anyone here from public, not seeing anyone online. So if someone does happen to show up in the next couple of minutes, they will have the opportunity. Agenda building, anything for the next agenda that we would like to get on there?
I did hear that we wanted to have a conversation about chair.
Right.
So I've got that on the agenda building for next time. It will be an academic meeting. Our administrators will be here to give a rundown of the opening days. So I'm sure the board will be happy to hear how it starts. So, and I'll be able to provide an update on the professional development that would have taken place up to that point.
Mhm. I am not seeing anything for non-public
I
either, or do we have
would like to
non-public?
give the board an update on one thing in non-public, if we could. It's a matter of reputation.
Mhm. All right, does anyone else have anything before we go into non-public? No. Alrighty, then do I have a motion to go into non-public under reputation?
91-A:3, Roman numeral 2C.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Yes.
Yes, all right, it is 6:46. We will be going into non-public. Take about a 5-minute break and then come back and we can discuss. Thank you all for your reports and coming tonight and providing your information.
Say.
Steve, do you mind doing the minutes
Not a
for
big deal.
non-public?